Alright, so let's see how we can use identities or x, y, and r to work out this problem. Now the problem tells us that cosine of theta equals a positive 4/5. It also says theta is between 270 degrees and 360 degrees. So theta is greater than 270 but less than 360. Now we don't even have to know the angle measure to figure out the values of the other trig functions at the angle measure. Okay? The first thing I would suggest doing is, just in case we mess up a positive or negative sign, we want to know, okay, where is the angle measure located? Well, if it's greater than 270 degrees, 270 degrees is on the negative y-axis, and less than 360 degrees, well, 360 degrees would be one complete revolution, so that means we are in the fourth quadrant. So regardless of what technique we use to work this problem, when we do work it out, the secant needs to be positive and all other trig functions need to give us negative answers. Okay? So let's find the secant of theta, because that's the easiest one to find. If you're given cosine of theta equals 4/5, then remember secant is the reciprocal. So if you take the reciprocal of the answer that's given, 5/4. Reciprocal 4/5 is 5/4. So, and see, it's positive. So we have one of the trig functions just like that. Alright, now let's solve for sine of theta. Alright, remember we know that sine is going to be negative. So whatever answer we get, with whatever identities or method that we use, our answer needs to be negative. Okay, so I would suggest using x, y, and r, just because a lot of times that's the fastest way. To use x, y, and r, you have to see what values you're given and figure out any that you're not given. So we were given cosine of theta equals 4/5. Now, what is cosine in terms of x, y, and r? X over r. So we're going to use that fact to help us find the other trig functions. So x equals 4. See, I'll write this down. X equals 4. R equals positive 5. Now, we use the formula x squared plus y squared equals r squared to solve for r. No, not to solve for r, to solve for y, because that's what we don't have. So we plug r in, we plug x in, and we'll have 4 squared plus y squared equals 5 squared. So 16 plus y squared equals 25. So y squared equals 9. We take the square root of both sides to solve for y. Now, the way that the math rules work with taking square roots is usually if we take the square root of something squared, we say it's equal to plus or minus 3. Now, which quadrant are we in? We know we're in the fourth quadrant. The fourth quadrant has negative y's, so that means that y isn't plus or minus 3, y is just going to be equal to negative 3 because we're in the fourth quadrant. Alright, so we know y equals negative 3, so now we can come back and we can solve for sine of theta. Sine of theta is y divided by r, so that's going to be negative 3 divided by the radius of 5. So that's negative 3/5. Now we can use x, y, and r, or we could use the reciprocal identity to find cosecant really fast. We know that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So if the answer for sine is negative 3/5, then the answer for cosecant has to be negative 5/3. Yeah, you don't change the sign, you just flip the numbers. Just find the reciprocal. Now we have a lot of different ways to find tangent. We can find tangent with x, y, and r really fast, or we could find tangent and say it's sine divided by cosine. Well, students usually don't want to divide fractions if they don't have to, so let's just use x, y, and r. Remember, tangent is y divided by x. So we said y was negative 3 and x was 4. So tangent's negative 3/4. We can use the reciprocal identity and find cotangent really fast. Or use x, y, and r. Either way, you get negative 4/3. So we get negative 4/3 for the cotangent of theta.